President will, from here, move on to talk infrastructure in Cincinnati, then head back to the White House later on. I rudely interrupted Lieutenant Colonel Alan West with all of this. The likelihood of getting that deal through, I'm talking about both infrastructure and a health care rework this year. So much hinges on it. You and I have talked about, Colonel, including this big tax cut, an aggressive timetable for Washington that will largely be out of town for the month of August.
Well, that's one of the things. So your last statement should be something that they reverse. They should come out immediately and say that they're not going to take an August recess. You know, the whole means of the August recess was back when they didn't have sufficient air conditioning in Washington, D.C. since it was built on a swamp. They've got plenty of air conditioning. They don't even have to walk outside. They can walk down through the tunnels. So they need to stay there, and they need to get the health care reform done. They need to get the tax reform done, and they need to do whatever is necessary to raise the revenues for this infrastructure repair. And I think that once again the markets are looking for that, and we don't want to see a big autocorrect from the markets because they want to see this retroactive to the beginning of this year.
Colonel, I want to tap the military background here, if you don't mind, on this whole intelligence dust-up. I mean, we got a hint of it, a preview I had said of coming attractions with the top intelligence officials in the White House, and those, and the big one, obviously, tomorrow, James Comey, that all the networks will be focusing on. Oftentimes, it seems to me, Colonel, that it comes down to he said, what the president said versus what, in this case, Director Comey said or wrote in a memo. And the same applies to some of these gentlemen as intelligence chiefs who were not willing and hardly open to sharing conversations they had with the President of the United States. So it seems like this is kind of stopped here, unless there's some smoking gun that materializes tomorrow. Where do you think this is going?
Well, this is similar to the dog chasing its own tail, and there are certain things that are important to people inside the Beltway of Washington, D.C., but it's not important to the rest of the folks out in the United States of America. Small business owners, our corporations and businesses, everyday Americans, they want to get back to work. They want to have their health care costs driven lower, but we have this politicized agenda about this whole Russia thing, which is nothing more than a conviction looking for evidence. I think that we need to start talking about what the real situation is in our intelligence community of the leaks that we see happening, such as we saw with Reality Lee Winter out of Augusta, Georgia. We should not have people with top secret clearances that are just going and divulging classified information to media outlets. That should be the real focus of the Senate Intelligence Committee.
Finally, do you see this whole collusion issue with, you know, and that's a stretch on my part, that's the word many Democrats are using, will get in the way of getting these other domestic priorities done, the stuff the president wants to get done? He just outlined one, for example, on fixing Obamacare, but that it will at least delay all of that.
You know, you're absolutely right. In the military, we have what is called a turning movement. That's one of the maneuvers where you don't exactly attack someone at their position, but you attack somewhere else and you force them to react to your operation. And I think that's exactly what we see happen. This is a big distraction, and it is keeping this Trump administration bogged down when they should be focused on making sure that they have all of the right key players in their administration. They're lagging far behind in the appointments that should be before the Senate. But and they're also lagging in the agenda because they're being bogged down in this swamp that is called the D.C. and all of this this unnecessary machinations talking about collusion and Russia and whatever. That's not important to people outside of the Beltway.
Colonel West, good seeing you again. Thank you.
My pleasure. Take care, Neil.